Hi, this is Captain Grizz at Northlink Learning Center, and I'm hoping by now, since this is our second tutorial, that you will have had a chance to use the one called Start Here. And the reason for that is it's the configuration manager for iFly 737. That's what we're going to fly. We're going to fly from Seattle to Spokane. So let's bring up and I'll show you what's important here is I want to show you what's called the safe start procedure that we use with the iFly and well any complex aircraft. It's best to use the safe start procedure. Okay, and we're coming up. Once we get Flight Simulator up, we're not going to load the iFly. What we're going to do is we're going to use the safe start procedure based on the fact that you do not want to have leftovers from flying a plane before. So you can either load the 172 and shut everything off, make it a cold and dark cockpit, turn everything off, and then save that as a default flight. Or I use the hang glider, and there's only two things to turn off on that, and that's the radio and the engine. And that is my cold start safe start procedure. So let's go over and we'll load that puppy as soon as we can get it up here. There it says default flight 1. Now once it comes up, we're basically free and clear then to go in and load the iFly 737 that we're going to fly for the flight from Seattle to Spokane. We're doing this real time, by the way. So it's an old computer. It's an old dual core computer, so that's something to keep in mind as we go along here. You know, I would like to mention the fact that these tutorials, you know, are meant to be used along with the quizzes that are listed in the Northlink Learning Center FMS Basics and Orientation segment. You know, and if you're already an accomplished pilot with time under your belt, you might want to just go ahead and take the quizzes and then get those out of the way after successful completion with your quizzes. Then you might want to come back over here and look at the tutorials for a refresher. Okay, all right, there we are. Now we're all set and we're ready to bring up. If you notice, it's cold and dark. Basically, there's nothing going on, and we'll go ahead and load our aircraft. We're going to select the aircraft now, and we're going to load the 737, the iFly 737-800. And you've already saw the configuration manager. We saw how we used that. So now once we bring this guy up, then we're going to start. The one thing I want to show you though is based on the fact that you don't have to load everything and do everything complete before you leave the ground. For instance, the CDU, the Control Display Unit, we're only going to program that part way, because once we get happily cruising, we reach the cruising altitude, then we can kind of finish setting up when we go into Spokane. All right, item number 1 is that I have a SATAC. I've got yoke, a couple throttle quadrants, a couple radios. I've got the multi-panel, I've got rudder pedals, and I've got an 8-inch trim wheel. And when I use those, I'll try to remember to tell you that I'm using those and tell you what button I'm pushing or what I'm doing, because you won't be able to see on the screen what I'm doing. So we're going to push one of our buttons on the yoke and bring up the overhead panel. Now once we have the overhead panel up, basically 3 things we need to do. We need to turn on the battery, we need to set the standby power, and we need the bus transfer. Now once the bus transfer is on, the next thing we do, now we're going to make an assumption here that we've loaded all of our passengers and we're kind of just ready to get out of Dodge. So the next thing we need to do is light up the APU. The APU, when you light it up, you'll see a little annunciator here called low oil pressure. And low oil pressure will be based on the fact that it'll go out as soon as you start gaining the temperature. This is the EGT, or the exhaust gas temperature, or whatever you want to call it. Now see, it went out. Now we're doing that. Now the other thing we have to do is to go over to the pack panel, and we're going to open the APU bleed. That's going to make a difference up here. This is the duct pressure. And in order to get the duct pressure up, and we're running that from the APU, is what we need to start the engines. So that's where we're going. Now, right here, this annunciator will light up as blue, and then we'll turn on our APU generators. Okay? And it's going to, as soon as that goes on, we actually have working power to the aircraft. No problemos. Life is good. We can go up here and actually check. We can go up here to the monitor panel. There we go. You see we've got 115 volts. We've got 400 cycles. And the AC amps, we're not drawing any because we're not using the generators yet. Now watch what happens when, watch that 0 up there when we turn on the APU generators. There we go. APU generators up and running. So now we're actually ready to accomplish something. What I want to do is I want to bring this little guy over here. I want to talk to you about this. Let's talk about this for a minute. Let me turn off my overhead. This is called the CDU. It is called the Control Display Unit. Some guys call it the FMC, some guys call it FMS, but it's really not. It is the Control Display Unit. Really what it is, it's our keyboard that we work in conjunction with our computer, which works in conjunction with the flight management system. So when you hear FMS, you're talking about more than just a computer. You're talking about the flight management system. And the flight management system consists of several things. Of course, it consists of the computer itself, the FMCS. Autopilot and the flight director system, the auto throttle, the inertial reference system, the IRS, which is not Internal Revenue Service, nor is it an IRIS, which I thought it was when I first started flying, a botanical term, and the global positioning system. That's what comprises of the flight management system. But we're running the CDU, the Control Display Unit, and that's how we program our FMC, our flight management computer. Okay? So we're just going to go in here to IDENT, and I think that's it for now. What we're going to do is we're going to start off in the next tutorial, and we'll show you how to get everything up and running. Okay? Thanks. As always, by the way, if you have any comments or questions, just leave me a PM if you want on our website, on our forum, or you can also post something in the video tutorials forum down there too. So just let me know. Okay? See you in a minute.